What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Becoming the 1% Podcast. Today, my guest is Raees Mohamed. He is the attorney for Ballerbusters. Yes, Ballerbusters is in the house. The subject matter today, I think, is very important. It's very well needed. I'm not hearing the discussion being had on a lot of other platforms, even major platforms, and that's workplace integrity, specifically workplace integrity on the internet. We're going to speak and expose a lot of names of individuals that you will know, you will have heard of. I hope they're listening. I hope you guys are too. Enjoy the episode. This episode of Becoming the 1% Podcast.
Got entrepreneurial. We got some really big things coming.
You have to have the willingness.
It's an A or B.
Try and use it as a tool.
This is phenomenal.
On details make up a person. It's what we believe in the industry.
Buddy, thank you for coming in.
Welcome in.
Yeah.
My pleasure to be here.
This is going to be a fun one.
I'm excited.
I don't think we've ever done that much prep in advance of a podcast, getting ready for a podcast. So this is a really, really important episode that I think fits with the times like a glove. I really do. And it seems like integrity in the workplace has always been a little, well, let's call it what it is. It's always been choppy no matter what stage the internet's been in. But it seems like today we find ourselves in a very unique space where there are people making a lot of money on the internet selling any number of goods or services, and a lot of them are done taking advantage of people. We'll just kind of leave it like that. You and your company, what you guys have basically fashioned yourselves as, is a way to expose those types of individuals who may be harming or taking advantage of others. How do you find yourself in this space?
Well, personally, I have an affinity for people who are victims, and victims of whether it's not just crimes, of course. I mean, I'm a civil lawyer, but victims of online scams. That is my ultimate pet peeve. And, you know, there's a deeper history as to why that is. But, you know, when I started my law firm 14 years ago, one of the key areas was literally calling out online scams, right? The internet became the stuffing envelopes of the future, right? The past scams where people work from home, you know, back page of the newspaper has all this crap you can do to work from home. And maybe some of it's real, maybe some of it's not. But the internet just quickly became another area of that. And the history of Ballerbusters, I mean, I can talk about that a little bit. You know, Ballerbusters started off as a joke. I don't know if you guys know that or how long you've been following the page, but it launched in 2017, and it was it's supposed to be like this funny joke, but covering serious things, you know, covering serious topics. And producer Michael, I don't know if you guys know who producer Michael is, this watch guy, you know, claims to be this jet set, you know, rich dude, and once again selling a lifestyle and selling a story that was not true, and it was transparent. So much so that you know, if you posted a picture of a Richard Mille watch, it doesn't take a lot to figure out that watch is absolutely fake. And so that was the first bust. I mean, going back to like 2017, 2018.
Yeah. And
people really took an interest in it because it's like public work.
Yeah.
It's doing God's work, as they say, because it's, you know, Ballerbusters, I don't know if people know this, but they don't charge money to do these things.
To do the internal investigation.
To investigate.
It's thorough. It
thorough.
Is very thorough what you guys do.
It's a team of people, right? You know, we were talking just a few minutes ago about, you know, who's involved, and the who is not as important as what caliber and quality of people, right? There's more than one lawyer. There's 2 or 3 lawyers involved, myself included. We have people from the financial industry, from the fitness industry, people who are at the top of their game, who are looking at these things skeptically, right? So something comes to us, you know, we're looking at it from the standpoint of this could be true or it could be a complete fraud. How do we know? Let's really, just like a lawyer would.
Or somewhere in between.
Or somewhere in between.
And I think that's an important disclaimer to make, because a lot of times when people we'll just stick with the word scammed, because it is a scam regardless of the degree to which it happens to you. When you get scammed by somebody and you use the word lifestyle, then a lot of these guys are selling a quote unquote lifestyle. Well, that is maybe difficult to prove that you're being scammed, because you have to prove that this person is not in fact living the lifestyle they are selling. But when somebody is selling the idea that they can create success for you based on their program that, let's say, costs let's be cheap. Let's say it costs $2,000 and they'll give you 60, 90 days of mentorship and they will get you to this lifestyle they are claiming that they live. Well, first of all, if they can't do that, I mean, if you were to be walking down the street and someone ran up to you with a knife and said, give me $2,000, you did and you were robbed, everybody would agree, I just got robbed. I got robbed, my money is gone, there's no way I can get it back, I feel taken advantage of. Well, a lot of these guys are finding themselves, as I mentioned, in a place in between those two scenarios where they know they cannot create the lifestyle that they are propagating because a lot of times, as you just pointed out, they're not even living it themselves. They fabricated it. I have a fake watch. I'm going to superimpose a big jet and put Elliott Group on the side of it. I'm going to create the idea that I am living this lifestyle, even though I know I'm not. And I know that if I have a large enough following, everything in sales is a numbers game. If I push this narrative to 500,000 people, 1,000 of them will give me $2,000. Well, right there, that's a decent chunk of change. And those people, while they didn't get robbed at knife point, they certainly got taken advantage of and they got scammed. Give me your thoughts.
100% agree that the people who are selling lifestyles are usually the biggest scammers. Yeah. And we'll talk in a second about who the real ballers are, the real elite people that you should be following and listen to. But people who, all you need to do is go to your favorite coach, find their Instagram page, and look at the first 5 pictures on their grid. If you see a Lamborghini, if you see a jet, a fancy watch,
a helicopter,
run.
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna just put a footnote there. It's possible that these people are promoting brands, or maybe they are in the business of marketing luxury products. That is very different. If you are selling a lifestyle, then you can literally sell a lifestyle. Like if you do marketing for automobiles and you sell cars, that's totally different. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people that sell that I am successful because I have these things, these materialistic things. I'm an epic success and I'm selling a sizzle. And in reality, like you said, it's deception. And I think the key word is deception, because even if they are successful in something, that doesn't mean that what they're offering to you is going to get you to be successful. Amen. Or that you will be anywhere near the level of success. And the FTC has caught on to this stuff. I mean, go back, rewind way before the internet, and let's talk about Amway, right? Amway, do you guys remember Amway? Right, it's a multi-level marketing.
I'm not familiar with it. No, what was
it? It was one of the first. They pioneered multi-level marketing, where again, pre-internet.
Yeah, wow.
Products. Hey, we have this excellent tasting pre-workout. It's gluten-free, all natural, sugar-free, good product. Okay, white labeled. It's this product, Amway. We have this house cleaner, which is non-toxic. You could spray it in your mouth, but it's made from coconut and lemon. So here's a suite of products, and pay us $250. You get your intro kit for products that you can then hold meetings and sell to. You can sell them door to door. You can hold meetings. We're going to give you a marketing plan. Okay, Brian, we're going to give you a marketing plan so that you can make millions of dollars passively. And I should take a step back. They didn't say millions of dollars. They said that something eerily similar to what people today are saying online, which is, we're going to teach you how to make some passive income. Maybe it's $5,000, $6,000, enough to pay your mortgage and your car and live a little car, extra money to pay your bills. That sounds sexy. Who wouldn't agree to that? Great product. I don't need to be a marketing genius. But the real kicker is that the people who were at the top, the way they made their money was the entrance fee to get in, not by selling products. If you lead with that, nobody's going to join your club, because you're going to say, I got to tell my friends to give me $250, and to hell with selling products, I'm going to get an override of 20% on your initiation fee. That's what's really happening. And people, it was easily swept under the rug, because it's like, well, I'm still getting products. I can still sell a product. You're never going to make that lifestyle. You're never going to do it at the scale that they're telling you is possible by selling products. It's this, and the whole concept of an MLM is the downstream. How many people in your stream? Because you're getting an override. I bring in 10 people, they bring in 10 people. That's a lot of money coming in now. I don't have to touch a product. Why are you lying to people and telling them to sell products? It's the same exact thing. You flip it now with the internet. and you have all these, for example, affiliate marketers, all these people that are selling products and e-commerce and ebooks, get my free ebook. And the sad part is the barriers to entry into e-commerce, very low. Anybody who's studied business, who has an MBA or went to business school knows that one of the first elements at looking at a business that you want to jump into is barriers to entry. Like, I got a tour of your amazing gym. You cannot replicate this place. This is unique. This is a one-off.
Thanks, man.
They would have to hire Brandon and his team and say, we want to do this, and this is how much it costs. High barrier to entry. Can't compete with this. If I have a device and some content, I can sell. What do you want to sell? You want to sell shirts? You want to sell lifestyle? You want to sell crypto currency? You want to sell how to get rich? You want to sell how to make $5,000? Fill in the blank.
Motivation. I want to sell motivation.
I want to sell motivation.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to beat each other up and act like complete morons, and I'm going to throw mud at you because you're a fucking pussy, and I'm going to beat you into a man. And
you can sell it.
And you can sell it.
Yes.
And it's because there are low barriers to entry. And people who may have had success in one industry, like we talked about, then sort of flip that into, well, I'm going to use that to piggyback and grow something else, right? And people don't know the history. They see a blue check mark, a blue check mark and more than some threshold of followers, whatever that number is, 10, 15,000.
Sure.
Oh, this person's must be good.
Must be. Look at all the people following him. Yeah.
And it's wild to me because I've been advising web companies and entrepreneurs before all this stuff existed. So I'm coming into a world that is literally like a metaverse. I'm looking at this like, this can't be reality.
Yeah.
But I represent victims just as much as I represent the entrepreneurs and founders. So
yes.
I see the cream of the crop people doing it right, and then I see victims, and I see this big divide in between, and I'm like, and people need to be smacked down.
And the entrepreneurs that are doing it right are victims too, because the entrepreneurs who are doing it right are oftentimes not making the types of money that the guys who, hey, I don't have any morals. I'll do anything I can. It's money first. I want money. If you're not making me money, I mean, this is literally, you could literally quote some of these guys saying, if you're not making me money, F you. I got no place for you. I got no reason to talk to you. I got no interest in communicating further if you're not making me money. And when that's your sole singular thought and your reason for being, well, all of a sudden, especially if you actually start making money, because as we said earlier, I mean, it is all a numbers game. A lot of these guys, they'll have a really good caricature, a really good gimmick going, and people will buy it. Well, as soon as they start getting money, money creates money. Whether or not this guy's honest or ethical, if he can throw $170,000 a month at his marketing, at his paid ads, at his funnels, he is going to make a huge ROI. Meanwhile, somebody who's doing it honest, somebody who's like, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. This program is not going to get you to $10,000 a month. That'd be me selling you. But what I can offer you is X, Y, and Z. I can actually give you a sales strategy, or I can give you a good strategy to come to market for your product. It costs a little bit less, and it may not be as flashy, but it actually provides what I'm saying it provides. And so there is a big gap between those two individuals, one person doing it honestly, the other person not. And it's, again, why I say the entrepreneur that is actually going out of his way or her way to be doing something on the up and up is a victim of the individual or individuals that are not.
It's 100% correct in my mind to say that the people who are doing it in the unethical, deceptive, and fraudulent way are taking away a marketplace for people that are doing it correctly. Because every marketplace assumes limited dollars and limited supply, right? The basics of supply and demand. Scarcity is value. And when you pull consumers of a legit product, take fitness and training.
Perfect.
And people who are willing to pay a certain price point for personal training, and even a very high price point, and they're getting scammed because they are desperate. They believe the sizzle that they're seeing. That money is going to another corner. It's not going the direction it should go. And there's a loss. There's a loss in the marketplace. There's a loss of confidence in the marketplace. This is what happened with mortgage-backed securities. In the 2008, 2009, this is how banks failed. I mean, it's funny. Like, as a lawyer, I look back and I see the common patterns, right? This is what caused Wall Street banks to fail. Washington Mutual, which had an office, right? Offices all over here in downtown Tempe. You could not withdraw 10 grand. If you walked in there and said, I want to pull my 10 grand out of this account, they did not have the money to pay you during this mortgage crisis issue.
Yeah, in 08.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no one got in trouble.
And no one got in trouble.
Yeah.
Everybody got fucking bailed out. Our tax dollars. I mean, it's eerily similar how we ended up in that mess as to what's happening now. Is duck down, money is flowing, don't ask questions, just keep going. Just keep going, just keep going until it hits a critical mass and there's a big pop.
Yeah.
And consumers are then like, "Oh my God." And what happened? And I'm like, "Well, we were telling you all along to be careful. Nobody listened."
Right.
It's the same thing.
And it's why they call it a pyramid scheme. You mentioned the first ever MLM. I mean, there's been several since then.
Yep.
That's typically what happens. The top 100 people who start something like that will most likely, even if and when it pops, they'll be okay. They made all their money. They're out of there like, well, all right, it sucks, but hey, anybody in this room mad? No? Okay, well then we're good. Meanwhile, everybody else, and sometimes it's thousands, tens of thousands of people that are involved in those types of things that are left, holding the bag.
And it magnetizes people. It's a catalyst to people to join because, again, people don't know it's wrong or what's going on. They're sold on this idea, right? They think it's great and they're part of a community. That's usually one of the ways they sell it is, oh, you be part of our community. We're an exclusive club of fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And you want to be a part of that. And there's something sexy about it. I mean, Amway did it brilliantly. I kid you not. I was in India, in a remote town in India, and I swear to God, I got invited to an Amway gathering. You cannot make this shit up. I had this guy like, let me tell you about Amway. I'm Indian. I can make fun of my people. I'm Indian. Okay, I can do this. No, you guys can't do it.
That's great.
We can't laugh either.
I'm just like, I'm watching the sales pitch happen. This guy's clapping. There's a room of 50 people. Half of them are there because they heard there's a great product. The other half are a bunch of greedy people that just want to make a bunch of money selling whatever. And I'm in the back of the room, like just watching this presentation, all in English. And I'm just like, I cannot believe
that they're buying it.
That this is, and it just goes to show you there's a human at the very core of this. It's very visceral to have a desire to be successful. Is something very, very visceral about that everybody wants to see. You know what? Even if you don't say it, that guy does have a nice house.
Yeah.
Or that guy does have a nice car. Or he dresses or she dresses really well. I wonder what they're doing to do that. Natural instinct. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's people who take advantage of that.
Oh, yeah.
That human appeal.
And it's also, it spans across so many things outside of just lifestyle coaching, sales. I mean, it goes into religion. I mean, cult leaders.
Oh, religion. Yeah.
I mean, there could not be a bigger gaping hole of people. These types of people, they either go into mindset coaching or they go into religion and they start a cult.
Politics.
Politics. Oh, amen. Amen. Wow. I mean, today, politics is almost a cult for people without religion. Yeah. And it is the same type of person that will prey on people that are not like them. Because there's something to be said about the difference between the guy on stage who's yelling at you and, trying to sell you or scam you and the people in the crowd. They're different. There's a big difference in the way that they think about life. And I think that there's definitely ways for the people in the crowd to become like that individual if they're not properly steered. But there's something about that guy, his personality, it breeds and replicates itself.
Yeah, I think the internet has been a big equalizer for this kind of stuff, in large part to the work that you guys do and other people do.
Yes.
I have noticed a shift because I follow a lot of like sales guys. They do sales training. And I've noticed a big shift over like the last year or 2 years where they're preaching ethical sales training. And I had never seen that before because before it was just all, here's my success, validation. And now it's like, hey, if the sale's not there, if it's not a good fit, walk away from it. And I think for every action, there's a reaction. And in this case, I think people are seeing the people that are getting called out that are acting unethically, and they're going, hey, I don't want to be in that club.
Yes.
Or even worse, they latch on to, they go the God route. They start praying before they go up there and they talk about their sales pitch. They start affiliating themselves with other religious people that are even like a religious influencer. You'll start to see those partnerships start to happen as soon as that sales guy starts getting in the doghouse.
It's wild to see when somebody's presenting in front of a crowd, and we know the objective is to close a deal. The first 30 seconds of what they say is going to really tell you what they're trying to do. Watching the body language, listening to what they say, to your point about emulating or appealing to religion, Scientology, man. Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk for hours about this guy. I mean, just to jump right into this guy.
Yeah.
I do not like Grant Cardone. Anyone who's followed the Ballerbusters page or my page personally, not a big fan.
He's got his own highlight reel on Ballerbusters.
He's got his own highlight reel. I did a recent video, and I won't spoil it, but we have a huge update coming out about Grant Cardone and his lawsuit, his defamation lawsuit against John Legere, ex-CEO of T-Mobile, who John Legere is a stand-up guy. He is not trying to sell you anything. And once upon a time, he's trying to sell you, telecom subscriptions, ethically, right? What I don't think people understand about the Grant Cardones of the world is that Grant Cardone presents to you information. Again, he has the expert appeal because everyone sees the Cullinan, the private jets, the 10X. He's got a building in North Scottsdale, 10X Capital, whatever the hell it says on it. Yeah. This guy, Grant, has to be great. What you don't know is how many hundreds of millions of dollars they've spent over the years and specific content to make you believe that they're experts. No one talks about that. You can go and you can find out exactly how many unique pieces of content that Grant Cardone has put in your face to make you believe that he's an expert. What is Grant Cardone's background? Is he a certified financial advisor? Is he a securities broker? What the hell is he doing managing money? What's his history from? These are the questions you got to ask, right? If you hire me as a lawyer, you're going to ask, Raees, what's your background? What do you do? My credentials speak for themselves.
Where's your education?
Where's your education? Yeah. If all of a sudden I'm starting a personal training seminar, now I'm in good shape, but I'm not technically savvy like you guys in personal training. That's not my domain. Why is Grant Cardone doing this? He pitches this. He says it all the time. Oh, buying a primary residence is just bad news. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Give me your money. The next statement is, don't spend it on a mortgage. Give it to me. Because I am bringing 10x returns. Motherfucker, you're cheating people. If anyone's ever read the documents that Grant Cardone is supposed to have you sign when you sign up, the disclosures and all the things that you will then learn that you're bound into this long-term investment that might pay you 5 to 6%. That he absolutely has 100% control of. You have zero control, okay? And he may or may not pay you profits from that. That doesn't sound like the lead-in that he gives in his pitches that we all watch. His podcast, the same thing. It looks super sexy. People are calling in, oh, Grant, I want to do this deal. He's like, yeah, man, yours is low, and you can put 2% down, you can put 10% down. I would cash flow this thing, I would do this deal all day long, and he gets on the whiteboard like a smart ass, and he starts drawing math that a fifth grader could do. And, oh man, he must be smart. He's not fucking smart. He's just not. You know what he's good? He's a good marketing guy. He's good at marketing. You would hire Grant Cardone to market a product. I can't take that away from the guy.
A lot of them.
A lot of them.
A lot of them. The types of individuals that I would say 2/3 of the people you have highlight reels of up there on your page as I scroll through Ballerbusters. That is the one common denominator that I could give to everybody up there is, well, they're very good at marketing. But all of them are very good at appealing to the market of people that they know are most likely to buy.
100% right. And I would argue that you are preying on a weak marketplace. It's like people who sell specifically to the elderly or products and services that appeal to the elderly. Elder abuse is in the billions of dollars in the United States of America. Think about that.
Wow.
You want to talk about unethical conduct? We don't care if you lose your property, if you go bankrupt. We just want money. Grandpa and grandma, give us your retirement. It's disgusting. It's terrible. And there are 20 products and services marketed to them for that reason.
Oh, I'm sure. And you're dealing with a group of people who, look, something happens when you hit 70. I mean, your body's deteriorating. Hopefully your mental health isn't, but it a lot of times is. You're dealing with a group of people that may have dementia, that may be struggling with Alzheimer's. And so you are inherently dealing with a possible victim class. You mix that with a young, ripped, enthusiastic salesman who will get up there and pitch the idea really well, your target demographic is probably going to buy a lot of the time.
Andy Elliott.
Perfect. Perfect.
We should talk about him.
We should. Absolutely. It's been on the forefront of everything, and his shtick, I think, needs to be talked about quite a lot as well. In addition to being, the background in fitness that I have, it's also, doing this, the podcast. The podcast world has really exposed us to these people in a way that fitness really would not. You could honestly never even leave the world of fitness for this discussion, and you would find enough people scamming people to fill up the whole podcast. You wouldn't even need to leave. But because we're doing this, we are being exposed to a lot of people who are like him. People who are, you could just talk about the fact that everything these guys ever do is a pay-to-play exchange. Mm-hmm. They have absolutely no organic interest in, helping the market. They're creating a community. As you mentioned, outside of that community, they do not care. And that's the vibe we've gotten from him in particular over the last, really and truly, and honestly, to his credit, a lot of this I want you to get into because you have the background on his background, but I never even heard of him up until maybe a year ago. His brand has erupted in 1 year. But I want you to talk about what he was doing before that.
Yeah. So Andy Elliott, again, Ballerbusters has covered this. There's a few different busts. I think we have a whole segment on Andy Elliott, and I've read a lot of documents. I have seen, my DMs are full from people who have personal experiences with Andy Elliott. Andy Elliott is a used car salesman.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Yes.
Literally, he is. Mm-hmm. And you can throw some new cars in there too. Andy Elliott has a history in Norman, Oklahoma, where he worked at a dealership, Big Red Dealerships, I think they were called. And Andy's gig there was to push cars as fast and as hard as possible. Now, Norman, Oklahoma is not known for affluence. Okay? So you're dealing with people, the subprimes, right? Mm-hmm. Another good analogy. You're dealing with people who have dog shit credit, don't have a lot of cash, but want a car.
Right.
Another great demographic to prey on.
Mm-hmm.
So according to court records, according to deposition testimony, there was a quote-unquote culture to basically lie to customers, tell them they qualified for cars that they could not and should not be buying, lie and cheat banks, and in fact pay off bank officers and employees to approve loans that should not be approved. Because how do you get money into your dealership if someone's not walking into cash or pre-approved? You have a funding source that you say, we're going to get you this application, just send us the money. Mm-hmm. You're going to get the loan origination fee, which is going to be paid for in part by debt. We get money. We can even mark up the car because it's all about the monthly payment. What can you afford? $300 a month? No problem. Here's a nice Dodge Durango for $300 a month. You'll love it. You're not thinking about, you just paid 20% more. You're not really thinking about whether you should have been approved or not. It's just like the mortgage debacle. This is what Andy was doing, to the extent that they had specific, according to him, instructions to cheat and lie to customers and the banks to move cars. Now, Andy Elliott has testified under oath. I have read the deposition transcripts. They're hundreds of pages. Anybody can find them now. It's public record, some of it, to the extent it was attached in court documents,
sure,
where he says, hey, it was the higher ups pushing it down on me. Mm-hmm. This is a culture of it. As if you're a grown-ass man, you don't know what you're doing. You're getting paid a commission, buddy. You didn't talk about that. Mm-hmm. You knew what you were doing. You were doing it for the bucks. So if you want to talk about the origination of a sales guy with no ethics, he's the guy. He's the mascot. He is. Mm-hmm. And if you talk to people from Norman, Oklahoma, which I have, they will tell you that nobody would do business with Andy Elliott in Oklahoma, which is why he moved to Phoenix, Arizona, another market opportunity. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what did he do? He took the same scumbag, sleazy, cesspool principles, okay? Mm-hmm. And he moved it to Phoenix. Now, some people don't know is the owners of these dealerships and some employees got prosecuted. They got indicted. They got prosecuted. There were jury trials. There were multiple cases, multiple trials. He got off not because he was an innocent man from the eyes of the law, as far as I can tell. He took a deal so that he could rat out people and say, this is what's happening. I was a part of it. Let me tell you, let me walk. So he's a rat too, on top of all those things. Those principles we're seeing in action, except he's wearing tight pants and a black shirt. It's the same thing. And all you need to do is get into some of the substance of what he's talking about. It makes me sick. Things like, or if you can't work for me unless you have, a six-pack. Well, then you're a piece of shit.
yeah. That's definitely one of his biggest, most recent controversial statements that I've heard him make.
Yeah.
My question is, not discounting anything that he did, whatever it was, 5-10 years ago. I mean, we all have a past.
I agree.
Everybody has things in their past they're not proud of, and some of us, like Andy, did things in the public eye in our professional life that will inevitably haunt us. It will haunt him
Totally agree.
for the rest of his days, whether he wants to admit that it does or it doesn't. People can change. People can improve. What do you see him doing today that you, the Ballerbusters crew, what do you see him doing today that you would classify as unethical?
For me, and I agree, people deserve second, third, fourth chances. The key element to me is, what are you doing differently? What did you learn?
Sure.
Right? It's like when your kids eating from the cookie jar shouldn't be, smack on the wrist a couple, 2-3 times, and now they've learned, they've stopped. Andy Elliott is selling programs, courses, appealing to people who clearly need, I would argue, psychological help. And he's pitching to them the idea that you can be successful if you just follow my protocols. Whatever tier it is, whether it's one course, one seminar, all the way up to people paying thousands of dollars to go to these, training camps where they're yelling and screaming and doing all these alpha male things.
Yeah.
To me, it's a very simple question. Andy, give me a value proposition. Give me a value proposition from what you do.
Yeah.
Instead, what I see him doing is, as long as you're paying me for something, I'll keep doing whatever I want. Because if you're paying for it, then it doesn't matter what I'm doing.
It doesn't matter what I'm selling or what I'm doing. That was going to be my question to you. What exactly is he selling? What exactly is I know all I hear him do is get on there and yell and scream about about sales training. But my question is, like, what is it that he is actually, what are you getting from his courses? What are you getting by being part of that group?
Can you pull up his Instagram page? We can maybe even,
Unless he's blocked us too,
look at this in real time. Well, what's funny is,
so we had his, and I don't want this to come off like it was a personal thing we had with him. We had him booked here, and about, call it, I think it was maybe 2 to 3 weeks before it was supposed to go through, his team contacted me, and again, it's not the team's fault. It obviously came from him and whoever made the decision, but they basically said, yeah, he wants an appearance fee. He wants it, and the appearance fee is very, very similar to Watson, very similar. It's always like 20, 30K, something. And we basically said, are you serious? You're kidding, right? They're like, no, that's the new policy. So that basically terminated anything that we would have had to do with him whatsoever. Aaron, his trainer, and I have actually had a back and forth for a couple years now. So I know Aaron. Aaron came on our podcast before this all came out. So did Justin Cross, who I don't know if you've ever come in contact with him. The Earn It All guys, at least from my experience with them, have been very positive. They cut ties with him too. It really seems like he has kind of island and isolated his group away from everybody else. But yeah, that was our only real interaction with him, just to be transparent on where we sit with this whole thing.
Look, I it's hard to fault people who, once again, are solicited or contacted and say, I would love to be a part of what you're doing, especially if you don't know a lot about it. There's been quite a few people who have actually interacted with Andy Elliott that I know, who felt like they were, in fact, taken advantage of. Andy Frisella from First Form. Andy is the most real guy in fitness and products ever, period. And
I was just about to wonder where you were going to go with that, because I'm definitely a fan of Frisella. Yeah.
I will tell you this. When about 6, 7, maybe even 8 years ago, when I was really helping affiliate marketers learn the legal ropes to do it correctly and stay out of trouble, I was looking at how First Form was growing. And I was looking in the industry and his name came up and I could not identify anything that he was doing improperly. And I'm like, wow, this guy really knows. I have spoken to Andy on the phone recently.
Frisella.
Yes.
That's outstanding.
Sorry, Andy Frisella.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that the guy is not only as legit as anyone else, but he is probably in the top 1% of 1% of successes, and he doesn't flaunt it. You know why he doesn't flaunt it? Because his brand speaks for itself.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to get on podcasts. He has one. He does it for entertainment. Like he has real time. In fact, business ethics is one of his key points. Ethics in politics, one of his key. He's not out there, buy my products. I'm great. Here's my private collection of cars. By the way, he has a hell of a collection of cars.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
But these are guys who Andy Elliott could not hold a match to. I don't care how much money Andy's made, because to him, that's his metric of success.
Right.
So when we go to see, like, what is he selling? Click on his
Yeah, to the earlier question. Yeah. Let's hone in on that. What exactly is Andy Elliott selling? That's the first one.
Seminars.
Seminars. Okay. Are you satisfied, hungry, or starving?
These guys.
So this seems...
Go back and click on his link that's in his bio, the Elliott247.com.
So did these two guys have an interaction, Andy Elliott and Andy Frisetta?
So Andy Elliott, to your point about coming on podcasts,
Sure.
wanted to be on Andy Frisella's podcast. And there was some content published, and it later dawned on Andy Frisella. Andy Frisella is a real guy. He believes in people.
Outstanding.
I believe he was taken advantage of by Andy Elliott. I believe that he used Andy Frisella's clout and success to say, look, we're kind of like associated. Like, he's my boy, you know?
He bumped into him once in a parking lot. And if I remember the line correctly, he did give him a compliment. He's like, I love what you're doing. I'm seeing your stuff. If you were a stock, I'd buy it. That's what Frisella said about Andy. At least that's the only video that I've ever seen, which is, I think it's pinned on Andy Elliott's page.
And this is my problem. And now Andy Elliott's using it as an endorsement. That's scumbag stuff.
Yep.
It's scumbag stuff. Let your work speak for itself. So here's what Andy Elliott's selling. Ultimate Closer Summit. Train with me live in Bradley. 30-day hostage tape.
Oh, gosh. We need to talk about hostage tape. Dude, I don't know how these guys found each other. Man, I hate going into past relationships that fell apart. We had a relationship with hostage tape fall apart.
Is that right?
Yeah. He came on here. The long and the short of it is, he came on here. He did a podcast with us. We opened up a discussion regarding partnership. He wouldn't do it. He basically blocked us and stopped responding to us. So we got partnered up with a different company that did mouth tape. It's called Dream Recovery. And Alex, hostage tape, was, and I believe still is, running a monstrous... I'm shocked you honestly haven't even seen it. His biggest ad, prior to hooking up with the Elliott Group, was our podcast, was my direct endorsement of him.
No kidding.
With me saying that, because I believe in mouth tape. I've been doing mouth tape long before his company or Dream, before any of these companies existed. I was doing it with athletic tape. So I was preaching to the benefits of it. He harnessed it. He made it into an ad, which was fine at the time. But once partnership fell apart and we told him, hey, listen, we're associated with another company now. Please stop running this. He, like I said, blocked us, got rid of us, and kept running it. And I don't know if it's still going again. I wasn't about to do anything with it. It's not a big deal, but it was just hilarious to see this partnership form, because I'm like, wow, they found each other. How did they find each other? They're like the two shittiest people that I've ever met in a professional setting, and they're with each other.
So here's a legitimate question, and I don't know the answer to this. Maybe somebody who's listening knows the answer to this. If you were at a dealership committing fraud, got a pass with prosecutors, ratted people out, people are serving prison sentences over this conduct, okay? And then you moved to Phoenix or Scottsdale, Arizona, wherever, and you started sales training. What success and experience do you have that you're selling to people? Are you telling me that if I wear a tight shirt and yell that I can teach you sales training? What is it that you are offering of value? What technique? I have taken sales courses. I have seen marketing courses because I have a business degree, and I've seen professors who are cream of the crop from publicly traded companies come in and talk about sales and marketing. That's not what I'm seeing on his YouTube channels or his YouTube content, his Instagram page. I've thumbed through this. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, come to my seminar, I'm going to teach you. So the success that you're actually selling is the success that you're gaining from selling content. Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. When people show up at these places, and this has been true long before Andy Elliott. I had a brief time in real estate. And you want to talk about a world that breeds this type of bullshit nonsense, go into real estate. You show up at these, same thing, sales training, big seminars they'll bring in a celebrity or two, they'll get this big thing going, and you go and you sit and you wait and you're like, okay, where's the train? Where's this actually? When am I going to get this money? I paid $3,000 to be here. When am I going to get, you want to know where that guy made his money? You're sitting in it. You
exactly
are
right.
sitting in the seat. That's where he makes his money.
Exactly.
He can't show, like you said, if you got a Fortune 500 guy in there talking about, hey, I can teach you about sales. I scaled my company up to this amount. I made this much in sales. All right. Actually, I would definitely pay $3,000 to listen to you. Why in the world would I pay that to listen to him?
And you will know the level at which somebody is performing by looking at who their customers and their clients are. Go to a seminar or watch his content. Who is he appealing to? Is it Fortune 10, Fortune 100, Fortune 50 companies? Who is it? Or is it anyone with a check?
It's usually, I think there's a big group of his population are young people. And he knows that. And it's the same thing. We haven't even touched Wes Watson, but it's the exact same group that he's going for. And there is a reason why this big circle jerk exists between all these guys, and they all guest appear on each other's stage, and they all talk about the same, because their markets are the same. They are young people, probably fresh out of college, and they are sitting there, they're 22. Man, I got this degree. It really hasn't gotten me anywhere like I thought it would. Or maybe even worse, I don't have a degree. I'm just trying to figure out a way to make money. Because someone told me a long time ago, hey, you either go to college and get an education, or you better figure out how to make money. And they all have access to social media, so they end up in one of these guys' laps. And it is the same target demographic for most of them, at least using just those two. That's who I see a lot of times buying their courses.
This goes back to, again, being human beings and how manipulable we are. But in the 60s, there was this, the pioneering of, at least in the United States, this group training. It's LGAT, large group affiliation training, or large group association training. We can look that up. Started in the early 60s. The idea being that if you have enough of an emotional experience, and we do this in a group and in a community, and I put you through something that makes you feel some kind of way, extreme emotion bounce, you will come out thinking that it affected you in a positive way. We see this in churches. I'm healed. Okay. Same exact thing. Now, this has been taken to a whole nother level by people who are offering institutional training. These guys, or I don't know if you've heard of Ivy Ridge. Ivy Ridge was a school. There's a Netflix show on this.
Actually, I have heard of this.
Yes.
Have you heard of this?
So
this is crazy.
This is wild.
Yeah.
This is absolutely blows your mind. So for kids that were acting up in high school and junior high, some as young as 11 or 12, their parents would literally hire people to kidnap their kids and put them in these schools.
Yeah.
And, swear to God.
Yeah.
And there's now a bust on this on Netflix by three or four of the students from these schools.
That's where it was. Yeah.
Ivy Ridge. The campus was in the New York campus was in the Adirondacks in Upper New York. So it's markets itself as an academic, school, discipline, military background-ish.
Get structured.
Yeah. Hey, your kid has behavioral issues. Ivy Ridge Academy. There it is.
There it is.
And if you permanently closed, but if you go to the wiki, the wiki's really good. The wiki's good. It is shut down now.
Oh, I can only imagine.
and I haven't finished watching the Netflix video, so I don't know how the conclusion of it is, but I'm sure they got sued up the wazoo. But the point is, these parents, and shame on them, looking for short-term results because you're not a parent. You don't know how to raise children. This is part of the problem. Okay? This is also part of the problem why the Andy Elliots of the world prey on these people, I think, is the lack of parenting. That's a whole different discussion. But these guys would basically, the parents would pay them money to teach their kids how to be good human beings. And it was the exact opposite. What they were doing was they were physically abusing their children, their kids. You were not allowed, to give you an idea of how crazy this was, you were now allowed to make eye contact with other students. You could not look out the window. You had a point system to where if you stepped out of line, when you walked, you had to turn a corner and pivot like...
Yeah, I remember that part.
And if you fall out of line, you get these points, and you get points deducted. Literally, you would be put in a room and laid down flat on your stomach with your hands behind your back. What does that sound like? Yeah. That's abuse.
And like Guantanamo Bay.
It's Guantanamo Bay. Yeah. Literally is Guantanamo Bay. They're eating dog shit food.
They were young too. Some of these kids were like preteens. Like, yeah.
It's sickening. And all of their communications monitored. There's no phones. You're lucky if you got one 15-minute phone call per month to your parents. So these kids were writing letters. Mom and Dad, why did you send me here? Like, what do I need to do to change? And all this is in historical archives. You can't fake it. And they had a person designated to screen those communications. And if you made it sound like you wanted to withdraw from this, we're going to put you in the hamster box. I mean, so... behavior modification to another level. This is abuse. This is psychological abuse.
Sure, yeah.
But this is no different than many of the cults that we see on social media that are camouflaged as a business. Join the club, be part of our organization, and it's us versus them. And pay me $10,000 a seminar or per month or whatever it is. It's the same psychological abuse. You're appealing to the same issue. These kids grew up. What we learned from this is they would actually admit to doing things that they didn't do in hopes of saying, I've come clean, now let me out. Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what happens when they leave? They go, the opposite direction.
They're messed up.
Yeah.
You have to be. What is, to try and turn the conversation a little bit here, because I mean, I think we're all on the same page on these types of individuals and where it ends up. Aside from Frisella, because, I mean, he is an example of somebody who has made a community that is positive. He's selling products in an ethical way. He's been ultra successful at it, and he himself carries himself as an ethical businessman. Is there an example of somebody else, or maybe the toughest one has got to be somebody who is selling like motivational speaking, or somebody who is...
I will give you a couple.
Got to be a couple examples of people that are good at this.
What about Bedros?
Bedros?
Yeah.
I've heard this before. Bedros. What is Bedros?
Bedros Keuilian.
I don't know a lot about Bedros.
Pull up Bedros.
Yeah, let's see.
Founder of Fit Body Boot Camp.
Fit Body Boot Camp.
I've always looked up to him.
He runs. Now here's, I think I'm gonna know where you're gonna land on it, because he does run the night, the young, what's it called? His program.
I've seen him. To be honest with you, I don't know a lot about him. I've definitely seen his content.
He has some really good books. He came out with he coined something called the immigrant's edge, and he grew up in the USSR, came over, and it's really the American dream, the American success story. But would be interested to look into him and get your feedback on what you think about.
Because I have seen, and I wanted to bring this up because it might be a little bit of a point of contention. You guys on the Ballerbusters, you have, and I first want to lead and say I believe there's validity to what you're saying. You have called out the makeshift buds training, pay me 10 grand and we'll beat the shit out of you on the beach type of, it's not a seminar, I don't even know what you would call it, a weekend warrior excursion. These types of people doing this
is disgusting.
Getting hosed, doing all of this type of stuff. This is the MDK product. This is their night. Now, I hear you say this, but there are definitely people with positive testimonials from this. There are people who go to these things, and look, we in this room were raised with strong father figures. Our parents are all still together. We were raised in very positive settings. It is really important for us to remember that is not a universal case.
100%.
There are people who grew up without parents at all. There are people who had no structure. There are people who are striving for some kind of structure in their life. I think this is different than what you've got from Andy Elliott. You don't have, it is, at the very least, it is very clearly understood what I am getting if I sign up to go to Bedros' program. I know I'm going in the ice bath, I'm going in the ocean, I'm going to get hosed, I'm doing push-ups, I'm running, and it's going to be hell. I'm signing up for Hell Week.
And if you make it through, basically they have like an inner circle group. So they're all business partners. They do networking opportunities and stuff for people that make it through the program successful. I will add that.
It at least seems much more transparent to me than if I sign up to go to listen to Andy's thing with Brad Lee. That to me seems like a total facade. This at least seems, because again, it could be the fitness guy in me. I know that some of this stuff, I mean, look at those guys. Look at that guy. I mean, look, God bless him. He's in an ice bath. Good for him. The guy's got a weight problem. The guy's got some problems that he needs to learn how to address. Maybe this helps him.
Here's what I'm going to say about this, and I don't know a lot about Bedros' specific program, so I'm going to speak about what I'm seeing and then the generalities of these types of programs. Okay, Here's my analysis of this. It is 100% proven psychology. In fact, I said it before we even asked this question, that if I put you through an experience that is significantly even traumatic, and I make you believe that you came out, you were Clark Kent, you came out Superman, you will believe that you are Superman. And there's a combination of placebo effect in that. There's a combination of you were broken when you came in here and you're subjected to programming. The studies on this exist from the 60s. None of this is anything I need to make up, or none of us need to. The studies are there to prove that. So I could literally throw dog shit at your face and say, you know what? You survived that. I've built you up. You are a man now. Congratulations. It's what fraternities do all day long. There is science to prove that you feel, there is a psychological effect that you feel like you are improved after that.
I suppose my question would be, is that bad? Is that a negative thing?
I would say that unless you have each and every single person connected with a therapist, I'm talking about during your, alpha male training camps where they beat you up, and unless you're saying, look, we're doing this for the science. You have a science background. We're doing this for the science of human improvement and intellect and pushing your limits. And we also want to caution you that there may be medical emergencies. You need to have a doctor, or we have a doctor on staff, or you know what? We don't know where your baseline is from a psychology standpoint. You should have a licensed therapist on dial. Unless they have access to these things, I'm not going to subscribe to this stuff. And again, with the caveat, like, yeah, there is proven benefits to an ice bath if it's done correctly. There are proven benefits to dry saunas if done correctly. But just saying we're going to do all these things and physically abuse you and you're going to come out better, I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to that for a second.
You may not subscribe to that and pay for it. Yeah.
But people believe, and this is, again, and we have to be careful here because people believe that they are better off. Are they?
I think the mind is such an overpowering part of our anatomy that part of me wants to say it doesn't matter. If you believe that you are better, and I will try to bring it home here for what I do. A large part of what I do is sports psychology. A large part of what makes a positive training experience, because look, I may not be, making you do a bear crawl on a whatever that was on a train track. But I subject my people to physical torture when they come here. They push the sled.
Very different.
Well, this is good. This is actually a great conversation point because this is where there's some nuance. If you are subscribing to this, what we're seeing on the screen, like the ice baths, the dragging through the floor, and I don't know what.
It's buds. It's buds training.
It's buds.
That's what this is. It's exactly what they do to SEALs.
Okay.
In fact, he has ex-SEALs running this program.
Okay.
So you sign up, you go through Hell Week like they do for buds
Totally
training.
got it. And through David Goggins, I've learned a lot about buds training and what it takes. And I will say that those things are designed purposefully to break you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, going back to the original question of pushing someone to their limits until they're broken and whether you come out a better person, I believe that is possible. I do believe that. And I believe in pushing your, like any high performing, you're a high performing guy. I consider myself a high performing guy. You get to a level where average people can't perform. You can't, whether it's in business or it's physical attributes and physical feats that average people can't do.
Sure.
You do have to push yourself. My point is, are you doing this with a discrete end explanation described that if I put you through this, then you're proving that you are a strong-willed person? Or are you putting people through this to say, you know, just going through this buds training is enough to change your life and to establish all the habits and discipline in order to be a physically fit person? Like, what's the end pitch that you're making to people, right? That's the question. If like you tell people 10 reps, if you can go 9, give me 10 reps till failure, for example. Like you're going to go till failure. Some people can't handle it and you're teaching them don't break form and it feels like torture, but there is science to support what you're saying. There's science to support hypertrophy training. There's science to support certain movements. And I remember, so in high school, I briefly ran track. And I thought I was a short distance runner until I started training with the runners.
Yeah.
And
it's unheard of how fast. Yeah.
In Phoenix, to be training outside in May.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're doing suicides on a soccer field. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
With 10-second, 20-second interval training, I didn't know this, but I did that for 2-3 months. And then, you know, like in PE class, if you miss PE, you have to run a mile to make up for it.
Sure.
So at the end of the track season, I had accumulated a miss, and the PE teacher was like, okay, run a mile. I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm breezing. I'm not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you're doing great. And I'm not paying attention to the numbers. I finished it like 5 minutes and 34 seconds, which to me was a record.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I swear to God, I did not break a sweat. I didn't even feel, and I was like, damn, I should have tried harder. That was a personal best for me. But I was used to intense training. There's science for physical training at that level, what it does to you. Right?
I understand, yes.
Is that what he's teaching? If it is, okay. Or is it something transformative? I don't know. And so that's my question to you. Like, what are you signing people up for, and what are you pitching them, and what are they expecting?
It's a very, very good critique. Very well said. Because you're right. Jake, please.
And I think it's different for every participant. You know, some guys, they want to know where that threshold is. They've never put themselves through this type of situation to see if they can come out on the other side. And make it. So for some people, it's like a personal reason.
Like personally, I am curious. I am curious where if I now I like you would never subscribe and pay to this. I would never pay to go and do this service.
I'll kick you in the nuts after this.
But if somebody
and he will pay you to do that.
Yes, he will.
And say thank you.
And say thank you.
Can I be a part of your group?
And you get a t-shirt.
But if right now Bedros DM'd me and said, hey, do you want to come join the group? Do you want to try it out in the challenge? It's going to be next month. I'm very curious how I would stack up. I'd be like, yeah, I'll be there. I'll give it a try because I'm curious. I want to know. I'm a fit guy. I make my living in this. I want to know where I would go. And like you said, I think most people wouldn't sign up for it for my reasons. I think to your point, most of these people who actually pay to go to this, they're already at a breaking point. They are at a point where they are certainly vulnerable. Are they being helped by going to that program? And just like you, I don't know. I think it is subjective. And I have heard, because I have heard a lot of testimonials of guys who come out of that program. Positive testimonials. Way more than I've heard. I've heard more negative stuff about Andy Elliott than just about anybody in the last decade. Seriously. Him and Wes Watson are the two worst. But this is not that. This is mixed. There are a lot of positive feedbacks. Oh, God, fuck that guy. There are a lot of positive. Just looking at it makes me. Geez, no.
I want to make sure the audience understands. I do agree that the buds training.
Yes.
For certain people, it's the appropriate thing, and you will have tremendous amount of success physically and psychologically. But my question is, how are you? What's your pitch? Is it for everybody? Are you appealing to the masses, or like what is the end goal? And to me, if we're asking, there are merits to the process, which is what we're talking about. My question is, who are you pitching this to and presenting it to as something you should be doing? Like, not everybody should be on, a 3,500 calorie diet and doing hypertrophy training, 5-6 days a week.
Right.
If I sell you that because it makes me more money, I'm a piece of shit. That's the ethics part of it. Yeah. So if I'm pushing this program to everybody, to the masses, to say it is fit for everyone, I don't like the ethics of that message because it's not for everyone, and you could die doing it.
I suppose. Yes, I suppose.
You see my point?
Yes.
It's like this. If I told somebody, we litigate cases. Litigation is expensive. Any kind of civil litigation is expensive. Yeah. If you come to me and you have a moderate-sized business and you're like, Raees, I don't know if I can afford $10,000 or $15,000 a month in bills, and I said, you got a credit card?
Guess what? You can afford it.
You can afford. This is a great case for you. I'm unethical. I'm unethical because I care about money at this point. I don't care about what's in the best interest of you, my client. You see my point?
Yes, I do.
And that's what I have a problem. If we're talking about ethics, not every solution is meant for people who even need that. You have to look at the big picture holistically. Can they afford it? Is it appropriate? Or are you just out for a buck?
Could not be a better transition to Wes Watson. Let's talk about him.
Oh,
save the best for last.
Stress Watson.
Stress Watson, man. The fact that guy's artery in his forehead, the fact that he has not erupted blows my mind. But so much to unpack on this guy. He is who I first found your page from. Is Wes Watson. I'd never had, and I was real green when I first bumped into this guy online. You like we said at the beginning of this podcast and at the beginning of the discussion, there are varying degrees to which somebody will quote unquote scam somebody. All the way from you can use the buds training over here on the far side of the gray area, all the way to somebody like Wes who maybe just won't even deliver you a program. Just will take your money, block you, and then just call you an idiot, a jackass, or whatever, and never respond to you again. How in the world does someone like that get to where he is at?
This is where perception of the public gets the best of them. This is what Instagram, TikTok marketing, the content marketers who have no substantive products or service, this is what they appeal to, lifestyle. Appears to be wearing a nice watch. There's a video of him. He gets stopped in the street and he's talking a little.
Saw that one.
I saw that one. That's one of my favorite ones.
Okay, screaming, driving around in a Lamborghini. Getting into getting in and out of jets. It's the same blueprint. It's the same blueprint. What are you selling? So we got to start from entry point. Entry point is I have a lifestyle. I look buff. I look like a thug. I can sell you my story that I went to prison. I'm this hard ass. I'm going to
shot caller.
I'm shot caller. Yeah. Oh my God.
That right there. I mean, you can dig into his bullshit backstory. Is enough. That's enough already.
He was never in shoe, by the way. He was never in these the guy is a liar in every element of his life.
Yeah.
But he's got a device and he can shoot content. And this is the problem. When you don't have ethics, when you can lie and you can sell, there is an audience that will listen to you because they don't know any better.
Huge.
That's
audience.
his audience.
Yeah.
And whether it's $500 to $1,000 for a meal plan that you never get or a bigger dollar amount, it is exactly what you said. If I hit a critical number, I don't care about doing some refunds and chargebacks because I can do it at scale. And I've got the number in mind of how many people will get pissed off, and it's just enough so I can keep doing it the next day.
Amen.
Someone that had a personal relationship with him told us he was making approximately $7 million per month.
A month. Yeah.
That is
$7 million
absurd.
a month is what, and if he can subdivide that, even give 20% of that back into his marketing fund. Numbers, Instagram is made for somebody like that
100%
to scale.
100% right. Let me tell you something about Ballerbusters, and this is what's amazing. Ballerbusters, we talked about who's on the team and the amount of resources invested into exposing. Countless hours from people who have firsthand knowledge about this guy, about Wes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't. It's like I'm just gonna start laughing.
It's unbelievable. This guy has given a lifetime of content to us. We're so grateful for Ballerbusters. But no, my point is this. There are so many angles to this guy. But to go to your point about the $7 million a month, this absurd, crazy number, Ballerbusters at one point, not necessarily on Wes Watson, but just relating to e-commerce scams, at one point was getting up to $300,000 to $350,000 of refunds to victims per week. Think about that, with charging no money it was a public service, saying, "Wow, this is how many DMs we got." Like this person, because we had an audience that these people did not want to get blasted onto. You see my point? So we did the flipperoo, which is, oh, you want to play the game of selling the sizzle? Well, we'll put your face on the front page, your mugshot, if you will.
Yeah.
You got to do the right thing. Show us you have ethics. And there were a bunch of people that got their money back from scammers as a result of Ballerbusters' work, which is why I like
because the scammers wanted to try and
scammers
save
were afraid.
face. They're afraid to see.
Shit.
Yeah,
these guys have pull.
Well, I think a lot of the people scamming people had the same perception that I did, which is that, well, nobody can actually call me out straight to my face. Nobody can defame me online. No one is going to actually be able to prove that I did anything. But now, and in large part to Ballerbusters,
100%.
All of that has changed,
100%.
and it hits home. There's no way for it not to hit home intimately and personally for me and for us when it comes to Wes, because he's fitness. That guy is taking money out of the pockets of every single legitimate online coach on the face of the earth. He's that big, and he is that unethical.
I will say this. I had my own personal fitness experience and journey, and I was not the guy who played a lot of sports in high school. You know, I played guitar, I played in a band, I'm a punk rocker. I know I look like one, right?
Yeah.
I played on many stages. Art was my thing. I later became a lawyer. I never lifted weights until I was 37. I'm
Nice.
42.
Good for you, man.
Thank you.
That's great.
But I hired professionals. That's the key. We were talking earlier about who are the people to invest in and the actual pros. Mm-hmm. You have to find them. They may not be the people with 1 million followers.
No, they very rarely are.
Right?
Because usually they're into their craft.
They're into their craft. They're not trying to sell you that they're capable. They're capable. You have to find them. Mm-hmm. And I was fortunate. I found they were training tennis pros, and I started to learn the movements. I didn't know how to do a deadlift. I was doing everything wrong. I was a skinny Indian guy. Mm-hmm. To a large degree, I still am. And, you know, with Indian genetics, it's hard to be massive. And we have our own genetic problems where we get like pockets of belly fat. We call it skinny fat. And I just would see these guys. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to be hairy and skinny fat. And I have to control both things. So I'm going to make sure the hair's on my chin.
It's looking good.
Thank you. And there's no way I'm going to be skinny fat. And frankly, I have a lifestyle of energy, and I like to do things and travel. And I can't do that if I'm not healthy.
Yeah.
And I hired these pros, and I went from one trainer to another trainer, legit people with the education, with the track record. Mm-hmm. And I don't look like I can move a lot of weight, but if I did 20 clean pull-ups, mm-hmm. which average guy can't even do 5 or 6 clean pull-ups.
Average guy can't do one.
Can't do one.
I think that last we looked, it's like 50% of the population of males in America cannot do one.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's sad. So to me, that's successful. Like, to me, I can do that. Or I can do 10 reps, 3 sets with 35 pounds wrapped around my waist. Like, when I try to do pull-ups, that's my benchmark.
Sure.
I don't need to have a chest like Wes Watson, because he's a fraud. Mm-hmm. This is my point about what appeals to you. People, and unfortunately women are victims of this. They see these bodies, right? And they see, I can't reach that level. Half that shit is fake. It's bought. It's plastic. It's injected.
It's Photoshop.
Or
that is the other thing.
Goop.
Could not be a better.
We gotta call.
Yes, we gotta get him. Oh man, I wish we could get him on the phone right now.
He's a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine.
He has done such an incredible job with what you just said specifically. Oh my gosh, Sean, whatever his name is, bro. That guy. We'll get to him in a second. But the Photoshop in the fitness industry. Yeah. You could literally just do a podcast just on that. That is rampant. It is everywhere. And it is doing such a disservice to your clients.
You're right.
Because again, it is creating such a ridiculous, unattainable. I've never been somebody who liked that argument where people were like, nah, I don't like it. That sucks. Jason Momoa is unattainable. I'm like, well, he's not. He just has genetics that you may not have, but it shouldn't discourage you from working hard.
Correct.
But when you're talking about somebody like that, who is literally, she took a Photoshop class, probably from an app, and now she is posting these pictures of her waist 3 or 4 inches thinner on every side. You're lying. You are lying about what you're selling.
And here's what's even more sinister about these people that he busts on his page. They are saying, if I can do it,
so can you.
So can you. Let me show you. Click here.
Yeah.
Pay Goob to come up with a meal plan, for example.
Oh, dude.
He would do it.
That guy at the Arnold, his lifts, first of all, I knew he was strong. I knew he was.
He's crazy strong.
He did that thing where he crawled on the ground and got the barbell behind his back and lifted it up off his neck.
Yeah, no thank you.
He is a strong... Yeah, bro. That's 315.
Now, notice on Goob's page, you don't know what kind of car he drives. You don't know what kind of house or loft he lives in. You don't know what... We know what his girl looks like because she's in fitness and he talks about it.
Of course, yeah.
But he's not selling a lifestyle.
No.
Okay?
No.
He's talking facts.
Yeah.
And
he is creating integrity in the marketplace. That's again him and what you guys are doing. It needed to have happened a long time ago, but we live where we are and that's where we're at. This needs to be shown. People need to know. And again, I keep coming back to fitness because it's my home base. This is what we're in. I hate these people. Seeing what these influencers are doing and taking advantage, it is the worst. And you see it take place. We've seen it take place on our page. It doesn't happen afterwards, but somebody will be like, why are his legs so small? And man, if I had that gym, I'd be so much more ripped than he is. One time we got a comment that I actually loved. Someone said something, I don't remember the exact details of it, but someone said something to that effect. And another person commented in and said, this is what's wrong with the fitness industry. Brandon he's probably on TRT. He works 6-7 days a week. He's training, but he's got a functional fitness. That's the body that someone can get naturally or semi-close to naturally. I am on TRT. But the point is, that comment reaffirmed, I was like, you know what? Good on you, man. That's exactly right.
That's right.
Having an attainable goal, and especially as a professional, I take that very seriously. When I present myself, I'm not ever going to go on like steroids. I'm not ever going to Photoshop my foot and be like, oh yeah, look at my physique.
You don't need to. With other lawyers, this is a point of conversation because mental health and abuse of alcohol and substances is rampant in my profession, right? Because of the stress, high stakes, keeping clients happy, the hours are rigorous. And anyone that's been practicing law legitimately for 10 plus years, they're a certain type of person. I'm going to tell you that already. Every lawyer is reasonably smart. Every lawyer is reasonably hardworking. But if you want to find cream of the crop, look beyond 10 years in practice and look what they do for a living. And then, to me, it was when I meet with my lawyer friends, like, dude, how many hours do you spend in the gym? I'm like, not that many. And if I miss, I might do a 25-pound kettlebell workout from home because I know what to do. I can get a lot of juice out of 25 pounds with the kettlebell.
Heck yeah, you can.
I can do stuff that, what's a Turkish get-up? You ever heard of that? What is that? People don't do those workouts. They want to be caught doing these big lifts. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, you train with somebody who, let me tell you what I know. I'm not a professional trainer. This is what I know and what I did. Okay, that's all I can tell you. Otherwise, go talk to this person. But I work 55, 60 hours a week. I am not a gym rat. Mm-hmm. Okay, you don't need to be. You can be reasonably strong, eat clean. That's the other thing people can. I posted on my page the other day. There's a line at 7:30 at Chick-fil-A. There's something wrong with that picture.
Yeah.
That may not be your cheat day, okay? For all those people in line.
Yeah.
But like there's something wrong. And people chase these influencers because they sell a very short and quick solution to everything. Mm-hmm. Whether it's get rich, real estate,
it's the instant gratification.
Instant gratification. They don't know what discipline is. And you asked me about other people who are legit, right? We all know this name, David Goggins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The guy's father beat the shit out of him for years. His dad was a womanizing maniac. He was abused. He was made fun of. He literally should be dead. He says it in his book. He should be dead by all accounts. This guy is an ultra elite runner, has gone through buds, does crazy shit. He does not need to do podcasts. He does not need to do anything. He is in the zone. He is an elite level performer. Listen to what guys like him have to say, who have a brand because they walked the walk. They're not telling you, pay me $10,000 to teach you how to run in an ultra marathon. He doesn't have time for that shit because he's busy building him.
Yep. And he is a great example of somebody selling motivation. He is motivating.
He's motivating.
And he actually has something to back it up.
That's
the thing about him and his page. And you're right. He doesn't do a lot of media appearances. I don't really see him doing anything. He'll do Rogan every once in a while, and that's probably it.
Yeah, literally.
But he is a perfect example of a motivational speaker. Probably one of the only ones that I latch onto.
Yeah, I have his. I'm a big audiobook guy. When I'm driving, I like to try to be semi-productive. To me, driving is a waste of time. But I listen to his audiobook. Relentless. Can't Hurt Me. And he's got his second book. Amazing backstory. It's got a podcast built in. But we got to talk about one other guy, which is Tim Grover.
I was just about to mention him. Kobe Bryant's strength and conditioning coach, for those not listening. Let's pause because I want him to be back here to operate. He's got to pee. Yes, Goob exposed Sean Whalen for putting Made in America on his goods, which were made in China. And I believe it was the SCC.
FTC probably.
FTC. Yeah, whoever handles that sort of thing forced him to obviously issue a public apology to his entire platform.
This is hilarious.
And find him up his ass.
So Made in America, this is another thing that pisses me off. And I give this advice as a lawyer is, like, people will sometimes come to me who have a product or service and like, we want to make sure this is scrubbed clean before we sell it to the public. Smart people, ethical people. And I'll say, look, there's a threshold for what you can call Made in America. This is what the threshold is. If you don't fall into the category of that threshold, you can't say,
don't say it,
Made in America.
Yeah.
You can proudly say Made in China. Ever look at the back of an iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay if your product's good. Don't use that as a sexy sizzle, which is what that Whalen dude did.
Oh yeah. Oh, his was like, he took it even a step further. I think he was saying it was like Made in America, made for veterans. His whole thing is like military. So he's leaning into it like even further. So it got worse. And the court of public opinion on that when it broke was significantly worse than the fines I'm sure he had to pay. I mean, if your brand is all red, white, and awesome and everybody thinks you're this big American hero and it comes out that you lied about something like that, it doesn't look good. The optics on that aren't great.
Yeah, it's support communism is a footnote that he should in sweatshops.
Him and LeBron James.
Right. So the other real guy, and we have to identify him because he's in the fitness and performance world, is Tim Grover.
Amen.
Yes.
One of my favorite people. Here's what's funny. This goes back to something we were talking about earlier. Tim Grover's Instagram page has less than 800,000 followers, right? 737,000 followers.
Yep.
If you scroll through his page, once again, we don't see what car he's driving. He's not flaunting a watch. We don't see. In fact, he's flying commercial. He's not flying on a private jet. Yeah. You know why? Because he doesn't need to do that shit. It's meaningless because his message stands for himself. Very few people know
his book. What was it called again?
Relentless
deals with the cleaners and talks about Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant.
You want to talk about his life is a story. First of all, Indian.
No kidding.
He's Indian.
I didn't know that.
Child of immigrants who worked hard. But this guy's story, he trained the elite of the elite. Andy Elliott, tell me that you did anything close to that. I don't care how much money you make, okay? And bragging about how many six figures you're spending on your bathroom. That's douchey. Yeah. This guy trained Michael freaking Jordan, and he didn't just train him. Anybody who's read the book and has listened to any of Tim Grover's lectures knows this. He was Michael Jordan's secret weapon. Mm-hmm. This is what people don't understand. Michael Jordan was trying to up his game. Michael Jordan's game and mindset is, I want to have a distinct advantage over anybody in the game. Okay, so we go back to, I grew up in the 90s, watching Chicago Bulls play, right? Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, these guys were like legends. You could distinctly see Michael Jordan go from like skinny to thick and strong. You saw it in real time when you were watching basketball in the 90s.
to help combat the Pistons.
Yes, Tim Grover is responsible for that.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it because the owner of the Bulls said, go train with Tim Grover. Tim Grover was handing out his cards. Michael Jordan picked it out. This is how competitive he is. This is why he's such a cutthroat man. Michael Jordan found his card in somebody else's locker. You know that? He's like, this fucker's using this guy. I'm going to use him. Okay? And he found Tim.
Yeah.
And Tim didn't have to pitch Michael Jordan. He's like, I'll work with you for 30. Let me prove to you.
Yeah.
Let me prove to you, Michael Jordan. Imagine coming up to Michael Jordan's house.
Yeah.
Okay? And saying, let me prove it to you. And he said, okay, you're in. Let's see what you got, buddy.
Yeah.
And he's with you for years.
And he was also green at the time. I remember from Tim's book, when he started working with Michael was one of his first early on clients.
That's right.
Certainly, I believe, and I want to make sure if Tim hears this that but I believe Michael was his first professional athlete ever.
That's right.
As a client. From a sports scientist's perspective, what Tim did and the details on the programming, because he talks about this in the book too. I don't even know. I mean, with all the time I've spent doing this profession, I don't know how you even would do this. But he would tweak and implement new training regimens based on he would watch Michael in a game and say, all right, so when you're shooting the ball, the jump shot, you're leaning a little bit more on your right leg than the other. Okay, I'm going to tweak your leg. And we're going to change up based on which leg you drive off of, how you pivot. When you shoot, what's your wrist doing? Oh, my wrist feels a little tight. All right, I'm going to tweak that. I'm going to change. The details of that from a training standpoint, that is insane. That is so impressive.
And this is what blows my mind when people don't realize the value that he offers. There's more people paying attention to the douche Wes Watsons of the world than they are paying attention to Tim, not by Tim's fault, but because Tim's being an honest and ethical guy, and he's an elite performer. The other guys are selling lifestyle.
They're marketers.
And your discovery page, if you're looking for a quick solution, is not going to be full of Tim Grover.
Never.
It's
Most people have no idea who he is.
This is my point. I'm like, oh my God, if you're going to spend 10 grand, spend it on him.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would do.
Easily.
And then he went on to train other elite of Kobe Bryant, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. They also, though, we know a lot about this industry here in this room, and we can cipher through who is accurate and who is not, and who is going to take your money and who is not. The problem, and I almost feel, I feel for the audience, because it is very hard to decipher this. Even after hearing this episode, they will still struggle with it, because I've seen Tim Grover on panels with some of the guys we mentioned. Not, I don't think he's done anything with Andy, but he's been up there with guys where I've been like, that guy's shady, and Tim is not. They will inevitably mix, because at the end of the day, a panel, a seminar, it's got to get butts in the seats.
Right.
And they know if they get Andy Elliott in there, well, he's going to bring 20,000 people. He's going to bring 10,000 people. They know that. So they will throw him on stage. They'll put his little picture right next to Tim Grover's big picture. I think they've done stuff together.
Sure.
That is very confusing to the audience, because the audience now has an even bigger problem deciphering who is actually real and who is not. They're both on the stage together.
This is 100% marketing, and it's the people who put together these seminars, and it's not Tim saying, I want this guy on my panel. As far as I can tell, it's people selling tickets, like you said. Like David Goggins' face has been used with a mix of these marketing guys. I bet David doesn't even know who some of these people are. Yeah. Not to his fault. It's just he was asked to speak. He joined.
They paid him to do so.
He's
not here to do a job. It's a job.
And a message that I would send to people is, don't loosely associate yourself with just anybody. And it's very easy, even for high performing people, to do that. But own your brand, own your message, and do a little homework and find out who it is that is asking you to speak or be part of their platform. Yeah. Because it's very easy to fall on the slippery slope of, dude, I just promoted some guy who is a total douche. Like, I bet anyone that stood 10 feet near Wes is like, I need to fucking be baptized 6 times over because I'm going to hell, you know?
Even the marketing materials are a little deceptive for a lot of these like big summits and stuff. It's like photoshopped pictures of just their heads, and they're all together in a group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's making them see it is making it seem like they are a united front and they all endorse one another on a personal or even professional level. And that just isn't the case. You have to look at these. And again, I understand it's a business, and that seminar, whoever is putting that on, that is a business to make money. They've got to get people to sit down. So I understand why they're doing it. I'm not even going to say that what they're doing is unethical. You can get people that are unethical on your panel, and they sell. It's not on you to validate what they're selling or not. That being said, do your research. And I mean, in our case, best thing that ever happened to us was Andy Elliott saying he wanted 20 grand. Wes calling me a fag and saying he didn't want anything to do with me. That is the best thing he ever could have done.
He actually said it was in a DM.
He sent a video that he sent 2, one of which deleted, in which he was in his car. And
I was gonna say, was he in his Lambo when he did that?
He was in his. I think yes.
I should say his Lambo.
Right. Well, that's a whole nother thing. But yes, understand that you do not have to affiliate with these people to be successful. That is another thing. I was just having a conversation. There's a guy who you should actually really get on his podcast. A real guy, Tyler Hall, the Roller Coaster Podcast. He's right here in Scottsdale. And he and I were having this discussion not a week and a half ago, talking about the fact that, and he's in the same one, Wes did the exact same thing to him. He and I bonded over it. We're like, have you ever had any interaction with Wes Watson? He goes, bro, let me show you this video he sent me. And
oh my God.
So the point is, he brought it up, and I love the way he said it. He's like, you will do this long enough, because his podcast is older than ours. You don't need any of these people. You don't need, stop trying to claw your way into this little ridiculous little inner circle. You don't need to be a part of that at all to be successful. You can have amazing discussions, collaborations, and scale upwards without ever having anything to do with those kinds of individuals.
100%.
And there's a lot of truth in that, because I think, and I'm guilty of this. I'll be honest, when Andy told us he didn't want to come on, it was a shot to the ego. I take it as it's hard to take anything not personal in this, especially when it is so incredibly intimate to our brand, to what we've built and the time we've put in. But that's the other one. That's the real one. Yeah, that's that. Okay, so that's the second video. Save that, because we'll show him afterwards. But it's important to remember and learn to sort of disassociate from that personal vested interest in the guests that you have on, because again, a lot of them are not going to be good people, and that's when this all happened. We had a discussion, and that was, I got a great team around me. They said the same thing. They're like, "Brud, this is the industry we're in. There's going to be some bad eggs. It's going to be some shitty people."
It's, as a lawyer, it's happened to me, right? We have a process of vetting people, and people sometimes get mad. They send me DMs. I don't give legal advice in DMs, right?
Sure.
People send me DMs and say, "Oh, can you bust or can you bust this person on Ballerbusters?" I'm like, I don't know. Send me receipts. We'll take a look at them. I have found people. Recently, we busted this guy who legitimately gives legal advice. This motherfucker appeals to people who don't know any better. 100%. He talks about shit that doesn't make sense, but because it doesn't make sense, lay people think it's something special. Does that make sense?
Is he a lawyer?
He's not a lawyer. He's a scumbag. I don't even know it. He sells my free course, my free book, buy this thing, do this, that.
And he's not a lawyer.
He is not a lawyer.
What's his name?
It's Amir, Amyr. Check it out. This guy got into it with me in my DMs.
Oh, outstanding.
And I exposed this guy. And
this guy right here?
This guy, just stand right here.
Educated consultant. I mean, so
private equity solicitor. Just stop right there. What the fuck does that mean? Private equity solicitor? I know what private equity is. I know what a solicitor is. Are you a lawyer for private equity? Solicitor means lawyer. We don't use that terminology in America, by the way. We call them lawyers.
Yeah.
in England, we call them solicitors and barristers.
Yeah.
Why are you using that? And next friend in law with the emoticon of a courthouse. Okay. Closed over 1,000 court cases. Okay. Settled $5 million in debt and taxes. If you didn't know anything else, what would you say about that guy? He's probably a
lawyer,
or he's in the legal field
of some
sort.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would guess, just as if I know nothing, which I know nothing.
Accountant?
Yeah. What is
not even close. He has 0 credentials. I did a lot of homework on this guy before we busted him. Okay. This guy talks about shit that does not make sense. I think he took a mushroom hit and hit on his camera. And I'm not dogging mushrooms. That made mushrooms sound bad. This guy is on MDMA or something when he films these.
So what is, first of all, I mean, here's a lawyer question. What are the legal ramifications of somebody giving legal advice who aren't a lawyer?
You can get prosecuted.
Okay. Do you have to claim you're a lawyer and not be? Is that the law?
So there's two things. One is lawyers have the privilege of representing someone, saying, I am your agent. I can speak on your behalf. I represent you. The only other profession where you can do that is real estate agent.
Sure.
But agency is limited to a real estate transaction. Mm-hmm. Lawyers can represent someone in any number of scope of things. It's a huge privilege. That's why it's so hard to become a lawyer.
Right.
So when you say, I'm going to help settle your debt, you are essentially claiming to be a lawyer for them. When you're saying, I can help you settle your debt, or if you sell a program that says, here's a script on how to settle, or if you get on the phone with the creditor, this guy sells the idea that, listen to me, I have this knowledge of jurisprudence in equities. I don't even know what the fuck that is. I've been practicing law for 14 years. There's no such thing, okay? But he tells people this, and people believe him, and they will pay for his white papers or whatever he is.
Go to his reels. I want to see what kind of interaction this guy's getting. He's got 300. He's claiming to have 322,000 followers. Go down a little bit more. Keep going. Keep going. Oh yeah, it's fake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time.
And he's borrowing off of like that video.
That is a practical. I will say this. This does not directly pertain to what we're talking about. This guy. I mean, this guy's scamming regardless of how his interaction was. But if you want to be able to pick out when somebody is fraudulating their content metrics,
yeah,
go to the reels.
100%.
Look at the consistency. And anyone who's actually in this and knows what they're looking for would rather have somebody who routinely gets 8,000 plays all the way down for the last 30 or 60 posts. I know this person's audience is real. They get 12 comments per post. They get, a few shares. That's consistent. This is all over the place. This guy is.
Let me tell you something hilarious. Okay, I want you to watch that video.
Which one?
If you scroll back up, the dude in the middle says restaurant. Look at how he's cash. Restaurant refuses cash payment due to circumstances.
Look at the poor employee. Dude, because we can't hear.
Click on the three dots under the description of the video where it says no cash.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm curious because I don't think we can play it. Right? We can't play the audio, but we can. If you can describe to us what the problem.
Let me show you how you can do better business and secure your equity. Comment school here. What he's trying to say, if you watch his other videos, he's basically trying to say, like, in equity, this restaurant should have accepted my electronic payment instead of cash payment. It makes no sense. At that time, the guy behind the register is basically saying, look, my register's closed. I can't really accept this payment. He's spinning it as there's some secret matrix of money, and I'm going to teach you about it. What the hell are you talking? He has another video where he purports to help people get out of child support payments. You can't even make this up. You cannot make it up.
Wow.
Look, click on the one that says name correction.
I mean, there are definitely people following him.
Come to my Houston seminar where I'm going to show you how to correct your name if you're a private American citizen. What in God's name are you? It's all fake, dude. It's all fake.
Correct your name. I don't even get it. I don't even understand why would anybody want to, they want to change their name? They want to change their...
Literally, I'll send you the clip after this podcast recording. He literally goes on to a podcast.
Okay.
And he's having this conversation where people are like, tell us what you do. Like, how do you explain? And he's talking, and the two podcast hosts are like, it's crickets for like 10 or 20 seconds. Like, well, man, you must really either know your shit. They're kind of saying, like, you must be making stuff up or you're really, really good because we can't make sense of things. Mm-hmm. Footnote, if what someone is saying doesn't make sense, it's only one of two things. Either they don't have the intelligence to explain it to you,
yep, mm-hmm.
or they don't really know what they're talking about and they can't explain it. It's that simple. If you know what you're talking about, you can make a fifth grader understand it, or an 8-year-old understand it. This guy,
especially in the case of something like this where you are directly related to the field he's claiming to be in. If you don't understand what he's saying, then it's only one of one thing, and that is that he's full of shit.
He said, I will almost quote you what he said on this podcast. He literally is telling people that your birth certificate is proof that the government owns you. You are the government's property.
I've heard that before.
Because it's the government's name at the top of the birth certificate. When you write a paper, don't you put your name at the top of it? I'm like, are you fucking retarded? You're definitely on the spectrum of something, because this doesn't make any sense at all.
But
and then he puts this disclaimer as if it makes a difference at the top, where it says, we are not bar card license enrollees. What he's saying right there is doesn't even make sense.
What's a bar card? Is that a lawyer?
He's trying to say
I'm
we're not licensed attorneys. That's how you would say that.
Yeah.
The fact that he can't even say a proper disclaimer tells you what you're dealing with.
Could he do all this stuff if he had a law degree?
No, because it's still all false.
I was going to say what he's selling is false, whether or not he
false.
had the credentials regardless.
If he was a lawyer, I think the state bar where he was licensed would take his license from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he talks about these legal workshops. This, again, he sells workshops. So I called this guy out recently. He jumped right into my DM. You know what he started saying? He's like, oh, you're a hater. You're a hater. I'm like,
there you go.
Answer this question. Are you a lawyer? Didn't answer the question. Instead, he said, I school lawyers like you. And I said, I'm going to expose you because you're a fraud. You know what he said to me? He's like, you don't have the clout to expose me. You don't have enough followers to expose me.
He didn't know that you were linked to Ballerbusters. I assume he had no.
He had no idea. He's looking at it, he's like, oh, he's got 4,000. He's got 4,000 followers. What can he do? He goes, oh, and I can tell your business sucks. You don't run ads. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't run ads. I do zero paid advertising in my legal practice. Thank God, because I don't need to run ads.
Right? Yeah.
Okay?
Of course.
And here's what's comical. These people don't know that we can unearth this shit. If you go to his page and you look at the analytics, his ads are getting reported. He's spending $100 on bullshit ads that are getting reported for failure to make adequate disclaimers. This is the guy we're dealing with. So optically, you look at it, 300,000 plus followers. He must be saying something right. It's probably bullshit. And there are certain people who buy bullshit.
Yeah.
Go to my page.
Which does round back to what we were originally saying, which is that, followers, it does not equal qualifications. That has got to be something that people take. If no one takes anything else home from that, take that home. Take that to the bank. If someone has a lot of followers, that does not mean they are qualified in their field, or that they are even in the field to begin with.
Followers is not a credential.
No, it's not
a credential. It's a sexy thing to sell. There is something to say about having followers. It is not a credential. So click on the most recent video in my grid, which is about him. In this caption, that's his language. All children are booty of war.
What?
He's teaching this to people. Your children are booty of war.
What does that mean? I don't understand what that even means.
War booty is something when pirates took over a ship, whatever they get is pirate booty.
Gosh.
He is teaching this to people. He's saying in the background of this video that, having legal title to something is not actually a real title. It's fake title because you have to pay taxes on it.
Oh, so we shouldn't pay taxes. Oh, that's another great piece of advice.
What are you talking about? Teaching people how to... And there will be people that will say, well, I bought a course and something came out of it. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant that one person out of 20,000 got some value out of something. To your point about going to seminars where people spit on you or kick you or make you walk. Maybe there's benefit to it.
Sure.
That doesn't make it correct, accurate, ethical, or legal.
Even beyond that, in this case, what if someone goes out and does something illegal because of his advice?
This is another reason why these fakers, like in your fitness industry, why you hate them. This is why I hate people like this.
Yeah.
Because you're propagating illegal conduct. People are going to fall for it. And then people will hate lawyers thinking that you're a lawyer, like impersonating a cop.
It brings up a good question, which is what is the ramifications for somebody selling a piece of information online that ends up hurting someone or ends up causing not even a criminal situation, but some sort of situation came from a piece of advice that you heard from an influencer. Is there any legal ramifications for somebody doing that?
Especially if they're selling courses. Mm-hmm. If what they're selling is false, inaccurate, deceptive, you got duped, then people should report that person and their business to, at a minimum, the Consumer Protection Division of the Attorney General's office. Consumer Protection.
Where would they go to find that? Just on Google?
Easy. Whatever state you're in, like if you're in Arizona Attorney General's office, or you could say Consumer Protection Arizona.
Yeah.
There's a division, in all 50 states have a division of consumer protection. It is free.
Yeah.
You lodge a complaint. Here's the problem. There may be a critical mass at which they start to investigate, but at least it's lodged somewhere. You can call, you can email them and say, I was defrauded.
There it is. Yep.
There's complaints.
But like you said, in order to really see a result, oftentimes, this is the unfortunate truth, you're going to need 1,000 complaints against one person.
I wouldn't say it's 1,000. During law school, I actually worked for the Arizona Attorney General's office in consumer protection.
Oh, no kidding.
I got to see the
So
sausage.
you actually know, yeah.
I know how they handle it. They take it seriously. It's just they're public servants, and they're But
time is time. You can
time
only
is
do
time.
so much, yeah.
But amazing things come out of this. I was part of the litigation in Arizona where the state of Arizona went after AutoZone and Walmart because in Hispanic and or non-English speaking localities in cross streets, they put products on shelves where the price didn't match that product. We've all had this experience. You go to a store, let's say right here in this shelf, it says 99 cents.
Yeah.
And this product is there. And next to it, it says $2.99.
Sure.
When you go to the cash register, this 99-cent product is ringing as $2.99.
Uh-huh.
The one that's labeled underneath as 99 cents is ringing up as $2.99.
Giving more money to the store, to Walmart, and taking away from...
What you didn't realize is that this product was misplaced.
Intentionally?
Now, here's the interesting thing. The data on product mismanagement, there's actually NIST, is one of our national standards associations, and there's standards for consumer products and storing them on shelves in retail stores. There's a standard deviation. The standard deviation, I remember exactly what it is. Let's just say it's 1 to 2%, which means out of 100 products and where the pricing is labeled, 1, maybe 2 might be off. Human error.
Right.
Some person stocking the shelf or other consumers
Someone takes it and just puts it back.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you know what the standard, you know what the deviation was in the AutoZone and Walmart stores?
I'm guessing it was high.
25 to 30%.
Yeah, that's done intentionally.
Wow.
That is purposeful. It's deceptive.
And it was done specifically in locations where you had non-English speaking residents.
Correct.
And that was, okay, which is obviously
the data supports the scam. There's no hiding from it.
Got it.
These are big companies.
Yeah.
Okay? What do you think about the Wes Watsons of the world? Like, if these guys are doing it at that scale, what do we have to say about these fake influencers?
Where does someone go? Because that brings up another follow-up question, which we can end with. If somebody is scammed virtually, online, would they still go to their prospective state with the complaint, or is there some sort of a specific international hotline or department that deals? Because obviously these guys spending the kinds of money that they're doing in ads, they're selling all over the world.
A couple comments on that. So the attorney generals in your state are one avenue. There's the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. They prosecute. The DOJ prosecutes those cases.
Okay.
Also call an e-commerce lawyer. Again, depending on what the amount was. I do a lot of pro bono work. Ballerbusters does a lot of pro bono work.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a large dollar amount, I will sometimes vest my time and energy to help somebody, even if it's a couple $1,000 out of principle.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a large scale fraud. Yeah. And call a lawyer, whether they charge you for their time or not. Get legitimate advice from an expert in that field, in e-commerce, right? Internet law, these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Ask them what the recourse is, because sometimes it could be significant. Maybe they've dealt with 5 or 10 of those cases. Yeah. I've had people call me quite a few times on these Elevate e-commerce guys. You know, the guys that were literally scamming people, selling them, you know, Shopify stores. Ballerbusters did a huge bust, and these people were given opportunities to issue refunds.
Sure. Which is also important to know that when Ballerbusters does this, you guys do give, you know, the option to these people. Be like, hey, listen, you're about to be on the front page, bitch. Do you want to give this back? We've had 5 or 6 complaints that just reached us. I mean, you got a problem coming your way if you don't actually act.
That's the other avenue I was going to say is if it's a legitimate gripe, contact Ballerbusters, man. Sometimes the threat of being exposed alone is significant for someone to say, you know what, I messed up. What bothers me, of course, about that is we don't want them to continue defrauding people.
Right.
We're going to expose you. We're going to go hardcore on Andy Elliott. He's a target. I know he lives in town. I'm waiting for his lawyers to send me a letter. I will fucking laugh. I'll wipe my ass with it. Because personally, I know what I'm doing. Okay? Ballerbusters knows what they're doing. This is a sophisticated operation. This is not somebody just on TikTok screenshotting shit.
Sure.
I will laugh when people have made threats. Okay? Lawyers have tried to send cease and desist. Trash, because the First Amendment protects what we're doing. It absolutely protects it, and we're super careful. So I can't wait for some of these guys to come. Ballerbusters has become really a force to mess with, man. And I'm really, I'm proud to be affiliated with the brand because they do such great work. They don't charge people anything. You know, Ballerbusters has turned down $250,000, $300,000 of money from people who say, I want to sponsor, I want to jump in. We don't need money. We don't need that dirty money. Like,
how does your company then keep going? I mean, where do you guys make money in some capacity? How does that work?
$0.
$0.
It is not a for-profit function at all.
So it is essentially an NPO.
It is 100%.
Wow.
Nobody's pocketing any money. There's no fee charged. There's nothing. Shirts, you know, at some point will come out. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to get us a couple of
The
those.
flex offenders, you know,
Yes.
the flex offenders. We will get you shirts.
I love that, bud. But again, it is a well-needed service. It's been needed for a very long time. There are tens of thousands, not a few. There are tens of thousands of people who have been taken advantage of, have been scammed, have been victims of this type of thing. Again, it hits home for us personally because of the industry we are in. But I love it. I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is amazing, and keep up the great work that you guys are doing.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.